Welcome everyone. My name is Kelly. I own Dogkind. I specialize in confidence building for very fearful, sensitive, and anxious dogs. And today we're talking about how introducing more choices into your dog's training sessions and also their daily lives can help you get unstuck in your training and can really help you make better progress when it comes to your dog's confidence building. More choices, how having options supports confidence building in dogs. This is for you if you have a fearful or skittish dog and you feel like training progress has been stuck or stalled and you're wondering what you can do to get unstuck. So what kind of choices am I talking about when I say that giving your dog more choices can help further your training and help your dog build more confidence? Here are just some examples. This is definitely not an exhaustive list of the kinds of choices you can give your sensitive dog. But in general, giving these dogs a chance to say yes or no and then respecting that choice is really important. And that can be yes or no to anything, but common examples that my students use, sort of asking your dog, are you okay with this or not, include petting, and also just engaging in a training session at all. The choice whether or not to come toward you or to stay near you or move away. It's nice to give your dog choices of reinforcers. That could be different kinds of treats, or it could be treats or toys or petting or whatever they might find pleasant and will function as a reinforcer. It can also be great to let your dog have more than one choice in training sessions of behaviors that will produce the treat or produce the reinforcer. So there's not only one thing they can do to win the game and get the treat. So here are just a few examples. I have some video of these. So let's look at some examples of yes or no to touch. So letting the dog say yes or no. I have a couple of different clips here. This is Nanako, who was a confidence builder's dog. And you see her mom isn't going to her to pet her. She just puts her hand out. And Nanako moves into her hand. So she gives a few pets. And then she stops and keeps her hand available again and says, do you want to come to my hand again? Yes, she does. So that's a nice yes. And followed up by petting. Here's, I think, one more cute one here. So sweet. Whereas here is some no from my dog Pancake. There's my hand. He looks at me and then he just looks away. And again, he does approach me, but not all the way. And he looks at my hand and then looks away and sits down. So those are him telling me that no, I don't actually want petting right now. Harnessing or any kind of really handling, but putting gear on, it's another time when a lot of fearful dogs don't have a lot of choices, but we can give them choices most of the time. And this can actually help you when it comes to teaching your dog to actually like being harnessed or at least tolerate it. So here's one example. This is Hoodie, who we worked with years ago, and instead of going to him with the harness, which is what most of us would normally do when we're going to harness a dog, Rachel here is sitting and just holding the harness up and saying, hey, are you up for this? To which Hoodie says, absolutely not. You see, she holds it up. Hey, what do you think? He just leaves. So that's a no, and she respects that. Let's see what a yes looks like. So here's Pancake, and you'll see he has kind of a hard time hitting the opening for the head on this harness, and that should have been my first clue that he was losing his sight, but I'm sitting down on the floor and holding up the harness and seeing, hey, are you up for this? We had some trouble, like I said. At this point, he was starting to lose his vision, so he couldn't always see where to put his head. But so that was a yes, and you see how different that looks than the no from Hoodie earlier. And then one other area that I've been trying to incorporate more into training with my students is making sure that the dog has multiple sort of very distinct choices of behaviors that they can do to get the treat in the session, so that they're not sort of pressured to only do one thing, like there's only one way to get the treat. And this is really helpful for our sensitive dogs because, one, it's so easy to make the training criteria too difficult. And then you have a dog who is either conflicted and like kind of participating but doesn't really like it, or just opts out because it's too hard. And if we can give them something that they can do, an easy thing, at least one easy thing, that means that they always have a way to engage with us in training and make it a positive experience, which is really worth it. So let's look at, I think I have a video of Piper. Okay, so here's little Piper, and she's doing, this is early harness training. The harness is on the floor, and the behavior we're doing here is boop the harness or nose target the harness. But if she doesn't want to do that, she can also boop her little carrot, which is the little stuffed orange toy on the floor there. So I think we're going to see her turn, and there she boops the harness, and she gets a treat. Here she comes. Now she boops the carrot, still gets a treat. That's a viable option. Boops the harness a lot, gets a treat. And so she still has this option when we're doing harness training, even though she's much more advanced now. She rarely uses the alternative object boop, but it is there, so it is an option. And that seems to have helped her make good progress in her harness training, where she was, we introduced it because we were getting kind of stuck, no matter how tiny we made the steps. Okay, so if you would like to introduce more choice into your dog's day and see if it helps sort of jumpstart your training a little bit if you're feeling stuck, or you're just trying to help your dog be less anxious during regular day-to-day activities, just start with one situation or context in which your dog is unhappy, or you're just not making progress in training. Allow your dog to choose whether or not to participate in the activity, so they are allowed to opt out and you won't follow them or whatever, they can say no. And if you are saying, hey, will you do this for a treat, make sure there are multiple ways for them to get a treat. So it's not just your way or nothing. And this can be so helpful in sort of building that relationship and that bond that you need to be very strong with a very sensitive or anxious dog, because you're asking them to work with you, to trust you, to learn that working with you is a really good thing. And if we want that to be the case, we have to make it true. And these are some ways to do it. Okay, if you don't already have this Make Your Fearful Dog Happier worksheet, which goes with a video I did a couple weeks ago, go to this link, dogkindtraining.com/happy. You can get the worksheet, and then within the PDF worksheet, that video is linked so you can review it as well.